Unless they're flying, then we're fucked.
Welcome to our third session of Delta Green Divergence. This is a Delta Green game. We're primarily following the Gumshoe mechanics. If you're familiar with that, if you've seen Fall of Delta Green, we're doing that in a modern setting. But as well, we're using a little bit of the Yellow King material to simplify how investigative skills work. So if you hear us say pushes, we're talking about spends on investigative skills. Otherwise, we're fairly identical to the basic Gumshoe system. So last time, after that firefight between Susan and Dr. Evans out at the crash site, 2 people killed. There were various weirdnesses about that. Bodies brought back, some investigation on that side. These are out of town people, clearly coming from Nevada, clearly pursuing the same thing that you are. Some training, some skill, maybe military, maybe police, you're not sure. But through the course of this, we're able to find the text that had been sent on one of these crypto apps. We're able to disguise yourselves and essentially say, FBI, injured, meet up this location. And you chose a location that is kind of an isolated farmhouse area that, when you checked, essentially is foreclosed on, has been abandoned for maybe 7-8 months. And you were on site when you sent that message. So if my understanding is correct, at least Jim and Jean are on site. I know that Dr. Evans is at the the funeral home to do some work there. Susan, where are you?
I think I would like to keep an eye on Dr. Evans, who is a bit too curious, to be safe.
I think that is a reasonable thing. I believe, Dr. Evans, you're still a little bit down on health, a little bit.
I am.
Okay.
I am thinking of spending some more first aid to boost my physical health.
Yeah. 1 first aid gets you back to health.
Okay, I'll reduce that.
Yeah, you're losing money not doing it.
Exactly. So,
I think we did the refreshers last time, didn't we?
I think so. Yeah. We did the refresh at the end of session.
I did, definitely.
Okay. So what I want to do is I want to talk with Jim and Jean about, you have a little bit of time to get things set here on site. I want to talk about what you're doing on site. We'll check and make rolls on that. This is a place where preparedness, military science, these are things that are good use for that. Then we'll come back to Susan and Marcus, check in with what they're doing investigation-wise, and then we'll come back to Jim and Jean. Car is stashed in a barn or a garage. It is off and not visible. You've put something over the engine, maybe drop some snow on there to cool, to make sure that if they've got, any kind of heat detection, if they've got any kind of night vision goggles to chill a little bit on that. So, Jean, Jim, what are you doing? What are you setting up here?
I think beyond any of the equipment and everything, right? We want to get a good kill box in place that we load them into, I feel like that's maybe a military sciencey type thing to do.
Absolutely. Make a military science spend.
I have military science.
Okay. Then go ahead and make a spend from that push.
Done.
So it looks to you like you've told them that you're in the barn.
In this barn, yeah.
Yeah. So they've got clearly one location they're going to head to, and we'll assume actually that your car is in a separate garage elsewhere, so it's not necessarily on that site. there is effectively one way in for them. You can kind of secure the back door of that barn such that, even if they try it, they're not going to be able to get in, and they clearly don't want to make a lot of noise. So they're going to have to come around to the front. You can make it so that essentially they've got a narrow point of entry to come in. You can set that relatively up quickly with barrels, with hay bales, things like that. You can get that set.
Well, I think now is the point where we make some preparedness then to see exactly what nasty traps we can leave for them in the other field, right? Because I know that someone's got their heart set on a bear trap.
Yeah. So here's the thing is, right now you've got it set up so that if they want to come into the barn and get sight on the person they're looking for, they're going to have to come in. Like, they're going to have to they can't just stand outside and look. They're going to have to move inside. Mm-hmm. And given that you've told them you're wounded, if they don't reply to a text, that's going to be understandable. Okay. So, Jim, what do you want to set up trap-wise here? And where do you want the trap?
I envisage the barn, your sort of classical American barn, with a hayloft.
Yep.
Is that a phrase you'd use? Okay. So, I reckon just below the hayloft, giving an option to sort of drop on them, literally get drop on them. That's where I want to scatter loads of hay from these hay bales. And clearly on the wall, hopefully, there is ye classic rusty bear trap.
Let's make a preparedness roll.
Okay, I will spend 2 from preparedness. Switching to roll. Roll with me. Here we go. Let's roll that d6. 4 plus 2 equals 6.
Well, it actually looks like it's a D.
I'm seeing a 6 on the flat roll.
Yeah, it's a 6 with no modifier, so it's actually an 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
So you actually will find, back, this place has been kind of stripped, but you find back, and one of the things, it's still in the box, a pretty significant animal catch trap, like big, nasty, it's still got the oil on it. You open it up. It's the mechanism is very, very fast. It's got the chain to peg it down, so if they get caught, they can't move it far, and it's got a very low profile.
I imagine Jim lets out a whistle as he finds this right in the thing. Gene looks slightly queasy at the idea of someone walking into that, but bites down on it.
So you can put that on the path, maybe about 3 meters in. Okay. Gene, what are you doing? There's probably at least 2 people coming.
Mm-hmm.
So very likely one will come in. Other will probably, do some kind of cover or something. What is your plan here?
My plan is that I would like the body of the person that we took the phone off to be in here with us, and I'd like to have it propped up in the middle of the barn with the phone in his hand.
Okay.
And I'd like to. I think what I would like for that mysterious bag of stuff to contain would be some flashbangs.
Let's have you make a preparedness. I think it's a very low difficulty because you're going, but I think we are going to have a roll.
Just before we get to that, just to make sure, we've got 2 bodies. One of them blew his head, and the other one, I need to look in his head. So the body that is not on my table has a large hole here and here.
That's fine. That's where he's going to be slumped over with his head invisible.
Yeah, they had hoods, particularly, was mentioned before. So,
or it'll be the legs sticking out from behind 2 crates, right?
Yeah.
And as they come over, it'll be.
I thought you might use one as a human shield.
That's what you're here. That's what you're here for, Jim.
Behind it and spinning round and got him down.
Yeah, hold him up like we're dancing. Okay, what's the difficulty? Sorry, Lowell, on the.
I'm not telling you the difficulty.
Okay, I thought that was what we did in this game. No. Okay. Well, I will spend 2 points of preparedness there, I think.
I did say it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
only a 3.
you've got 2 flashbangs. They've
Okay.
got 2 basic grenade throw flashbangs there.
I rig one up on the body.
Okay. So you want to kind of do like a little like mechanical setup here?
Yeah, I have nothing in mechanics, so.
Well, you can still roll.
I can still roll. So let's.
Luckily, I do.
Do you want to do it?
Let's quickly just talk about the plan of action here then. So I envisage at least capturing one in the bear trap, then descending from the hayloft and engaging him in hand-to-hand.
Yes.
In the process of capturing him, I'd really like you to take the other guy out, or girl. I'm not saying this. Does that sound viable?
That sounds viable. What I'm doing is I'm giving them a reason to get into the barn rather than say.
Well, the flashbang doesn't give them a reason to get in.
No, the body gives them the reason to get in. The flashbang gives them a surprise when they get in.
As they're on the way in, they may never reach that flashbang because he might get his foot in a bear trap.
No, well, do you want to take a flashbang and I'll have a flashbang, Jim, and then we'll just throw them if we need to.
Thank you very much.
There we go.
Need be.
Yeah, we'll use the bear traps as the booby traps, and we'll just throw the flashbangs.
No, I just didn't want to waste your sort of, your good flashbangs on a body that he never reaches.
That's a good point. Yeah. Now, I guess the only real question is: are we both going to wait inside the barn, or is one of us going to post up outside with the hunting rifle?
Hunting rifles, if they both go into the barn, you're not going to. Being outside isn't much use. Clearly, if they discover us inside and set fire to the place, now we've sealed the only other exit. That is but we can always get out. There's probably one of those hayloft sort of door things with a.
Whatever ingenious thing we want is only a preparedness roll away.
Exactly. I don't mind if you want to stay outside and snipe them. I'm just thinking if they don't come in, that's not going to.
What do you want to do, Jim? We know that Jim is going up on the hayloft, perched above where that bear trap is going to activate. Where are you positioning yourself?
I would like to. I think I would like to position myself outside of the barn.
Okay.
I'd like to hide somewhere, not with a hunting rifle, but somewhere relatively close to the door, so that I can have eyes on them as they go in, and then.
Are you on the ground? Or are you going up in the tree? Or are you going up onto the roof of the house? Where are you going?
Are there hay bales and stuff out here? Yeah. I'd like
those big round ones that have just kind of been left to rot.
Yeah, I'd like to basically be lying beneath like the hay bales, like just the muzzle of my gun pointing, like able to slip out of it, so that like I can just basically, if they go in and it all kicks off, I can just burst out.
It's cold, it's wet, it's musty, it's unpleasant, but you are positioned there fine. And I think that in crisp, early morning, super cold air, you'll hear that sound in the distance of crunching, when ground kind of gets turned up and it gets frozen. And then you're walking across, you've got that crunch, and you can hear clearly they parked a ways away. And you can hear a pair of footsteps, and then like slightly further away, a second pair, clearly spread out a little bit, moving with some caution, care, and training towards the barn. We'll come back to that. So, Dr. Marcus, you've come back to the facility. It looks like the Catanzarites have not returned back to this place. You've told them that it's quarantined. You haven't put up any visible marker or anything like that, but you've got that. And so you want to park in the space that they have for, delivering the bodies. You can get a gurney, and they have a little elevator that goes from the first floor down to the second floor. You can get that set and roll that. The room that they have for doing this is the one, unfortunately, where you had that incident earlier. So to do this, you're going to have to go back into that room.
Yeah, and I suppose my working assumption is that Susan will check it.
What are you doing, Susan?
Yeah, Susan draws a gun, opens the door to the to the room where we had the autopsy, and checks if anything is moving.
Why don't you you can either make a noticed spend from technical, or you can roll sense trouble.
I want to roll sense trouble. Give me a second to load up. Roll with me. And it's D6, right?
Yep.
Let's go. And I got a 3, do I? No. I got a 6, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There's nobody here. Like, you're fairly certain that there's nobody here.
Mm-hmm.
But you look around and things are just a little bit different than when you last were here. Like, papers are in a slightly different place. Like, somebody's clearly opened each of those body cupboards. I can't remember what you call them, but we'll just call them body cupboards. And someone has been through here. They've done a fairly amateurish job of going around, looking around, poking around and stuff, and then left.
I like it because amateurish means maybe no gloves. Can I, check for fingerprints? I assume that I have some kind of powder.
Yeah, if you want to make a forensic spend.
Yes, I would like to.
Sadly, I don't think it's a skill you possess.
Oh, I will tell Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans, I think somebody was here.
I see. Well, then I suppose the logical place would be the inside and the outside door handles.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want a forensic spend?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, okay.
This is going to take some time because a lot of people have come back and forth through this place. You've got all of yourselves, plus you have the Catanzarites. So you're going to have to take enough stuff to get some elimination prints as well.
But interestingly, we only opened 2 of the body cupboards. So given that they've all been opened, I will also take prints off the one we didn't open. And that's just about collecting, really.
Yeah.
I'll do the exclusion prints for the others later.
Yeah. So you've got a set of prints, and maybe even like a spot where there might be even like some sweat here, so you can get potentially a DNA on someone. But you've got that for future reference. You've got that. You're pretty sure you have evidence of whoever it was who came in here and checked the place out. But Susan, you are certain that this place is set, and I think you can figure out where the alarm is, figure out where the locks are, and secure this place such that while you're in here, if anyone tries to get in, you'll be alerted immediately.
Susan will then open up her laptop and check on the social media profile of Deborah, whether or not she has mentioned anything on Facebook or what the kids used today about what happened to her.
Yeah, you check her stuff. She has not posted anything on any of her medias. You can tell she, given the conversations that you all had with them and given the person that you put, she's not saying anything. She doesn't know what's going on. Check the sheriff. The sheriff isn't posting anything. He's clearly freaked out. It doesn't look like there's any real blip yet from the town on people going, what's this weird stuff with the FBI here and things yet.
And then transfer the body's on a gurney. I guess we we shifted across to the embalming table and use that for the autopsy and run a thorough autopsy. Desperately wanting to start at the cut stroke mouth behind the ear, but instead playing it professionally and straight and doing all the other bits first.
Absolutely. Let's have you make a I'm good with either a medicine spend or a forensic spend for this.
Let's go medicine. And I will remind you that fringe and occult are up there as well.
Right.
If that will help with my findings. So I've made the medicine spend just to do the job, I guess.
Body is relatively healthy. This is a 30-something-year-old male. You can see probably at some point in his youth, he did steroids. You can see some of the evidence of that, high school, college, bodybuilder kind of thing. There's some marks here that indicate to you that this is a person who probably served in the police at some point. Some sort of law enforcement. There's some of they have the little Punisher skull tattoo, which a lot of police adopt, that kind of thing. And otherwise, pretty healthy. Not a smoker. No evidence of liver damage for heavy drinking, things like that.
And all these organs are the right thing in the right place.
They are.
And no sign of this peculiar transformation that we've noticed previously.
No, there's no bodily change. But that's when you come to the head. So I'm going to cut away. Agent Oliver, 2 people. Got that same kind of dark black, dark green winter jackets, a little bit more worn, military boots. They're spread far enough away from each other that they can, see each other. They're, doing the, that kind of gesture. They'll spread a little bit apart. You see one of them kind of hangs back, finds a space sort of behind a broken down car, like an engine block kind of thing, kind of sets himself there, does a scan around the periphery, looking. They don't have night vision. They're kind of checking. They're trying to see. They're clearly looking for footprints in the snow and stuff, but the light is bad.
One thing I wanted to do was to leave one of the shoes just in front of the door. You know, as though his shoe came off as he was dragging himself into the thing.
Okay. One of the 2 stays behind the car. The other one kind of moves out. You see him pull out a phone. send, like in the distance, there's the
In the
tiniest
barn.
little ping.
Mm.
Kind of waits. And he stops, and he will gesture to the other guy to stay behind the car, watch the area. I'm going to go in. And so he trying to stay low to the ground. He clearly has a gun out, kind of serpentines from point to point across, gets up in front of the barn. You see him see the boot there, kind of looks at it, and you'll see him, gun, and you see him pull out a flashlight, goes low, and begins to move into the building.
We cut to Jim's view, and you just see that flicker of the flashlight coming in through the barn door, right from the rafters.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to roll to see if he sees the bear trap or not. Step, step, step. And then there is, and it's not a loud snap, it's a shtuk, and then cry out as this guy, like this bites right into his ankle, and like we can see the light of the flashlight go wild as that happens. As soon as that cry comes out, you see the other guy stands up, and gun out and starts. He looks like he's gonna run across the yard over that way.
Which is when he sees a flashbang drop down next to him.
We'll do Jim. Jim, what are you doing when that snaps tight on this guy's ankle?
I'm going to drop the flashbang on him first.
Okay. Then that is done with
firearms or
athletics for accuracy of throw.
Athletics is no problem at all.
I know, I'm being generous to you.
Yeah, I will spend 2.
Okay.
And let's roll with me.
So 3. It drops down by him and goes off, but I think that you're starting to pull back, and woof, and you're also blinded a little bit. This guy's blinded. He cries out. He clearly took the full force of it, but you're also like, you've lost your visual purple, and this guy's out of it, but you're out of it for the moment. There'll be that flash inside, and then you're dropping this on this guy out here, Gene.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have you roll athletics.
I imagine it kind of like as a sort of like underarm toss as I rise up from the thing, and I'm like, so okay, I roll athletics. I will spend 3 because I don't want what just happened to Jim to happen to me.
Fair enough.
And that is a 5.
Oh yeah, this lands right by this guy. There is that thing where it goes off right in his face, and it's painful. Like this is not just a big light. It is a heat and pressure, and he staggers back, and he's doing that thing where he's panicked and he's starting to just run in a direction. But like he's like running towards the front wall of that house because he doesn't have any bearings here.
I'd love if he like bangs his hip off like that engine block or something, right? And then Gene's gonna come over and just like tackle him as he's running. Like I'm bursting out of that thing like a monster coming out of the hay.
Okay, we'll come to you in a second.
Yeah.
So Jim, you've got a little bit of a disadvantage because of the flash hitting you, but if you want to, you can drop down and try and get this guy.
Yeah. That's clearly still my plan of action.
Okay.
I'm relying that he's stationary. I've got gravity on my side. Let's go for it.
All right. Then let's have you make that unarmed combat roll.
I'm going to spend 3. Let's roll with me. 8.
8. So you land down and you catch him just as like he's staggering back. And I think the first thing that you'll hear is the sound of his gun going flying out of his hand. Go ahead and roll me a d6 for effect.
Straight d6 rolling. 2.
2. So you've got him tackled. He's still up. He's blinded. You can kind of see what's going on a little bit. He has lost his flashlight. He's lost his gun, but he is kind of getting an attempt to wrestle with you. We'll do a contest of that, though he is going to be at a disadvantage here in just a second. Agent Oliver, let's have you roll unarmed combat, unless you're using a melee weapon to knock him out.
I don't think I'm doing that thing where I'm trying to do that thing where you slap the cuffs on with one hand and then you drag him around by that leverage. I don't know. I think that's maybe more of an unarmed than a melee combat.
I think that's definitely unarmed.
Yeah. Handcuffs should not count as melee weapons unless you're choking someone to death with them or something, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I will spend 3 because I actually hope not to get involved in too many hand-to-hand combats in this game. I will shoot most things first.
Fair enough.
These guys were definitely going to go, that's a 9.
Oh, yeah. Like, you get up on him just as he's kind of like reeling back from having hit against like a pillar, and you kind of shove him forward again such that he hits it again. You get those cuffs on him, and essentially you can leverage it so that you can put all your weight on like your knee on his back and get him pinned so that he has no gun. He's got his hands cuffed. He's bleeding out, and he's got splinters in his forehead, and he's kind of pinned to the ground right now.
Yeah, he lets out a scream, and Gene just yanks that arm further back, and says, "Stay down, motherfucker!" Like, yeah.
Jim, contest of unarmed. You have a +2 circumstance bonus for this. He's gonna try and fight you, though.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to spend 1, so I'll be at +3 then.
Okay. Got a 6. And you've got a 7, looks like, with a +3. Yeah. So roll me another die.
3.
Okay. So like you hit him again. He's still not down, but I mean, you've smashed his face into the concrete of this barn floor. He's scraped. He's clearly knows he's at a disadvantage, but he is still kind of roiling and fighting. How do you want to try and bring this to a close?
I would like to spend 1 in intimidation.
Okay.
Stay down, motherfucker, if you know what's good for you.
And there is a bit where you are on top of him. You've got him locked down. He could probably fight, but he's going to lose. And he doesn't know if you've got a gun yet or not because he can't see it all. And I think he'll take that enough pause that you can cuff him or zip tie him, and you've got him held there.
Excellent.
We'll come back to you two in just a moment. Susan, Dr. Evans' stuff takes a while. Well, what else are you doing while we're waiting around on this?
I'm checking. We do have a couple of prints. Is there any way to check? I have FBI credentials and everything. Is it possible to check the database of the FBI for fingerprints, for all the fingerprints that we got?
Yeah, one of the things is that this definitely be a forensic spend, because you've got to quickly go through and you've got to eliminate some prints. You've got, from the Catanzarites, get those out of there and see if you can get a good print from the set that will go through. But if you want to make that spend,
apparently I don't have forensics. So
does this feel like data retrieval, or maybe we could if you want to spend calling on the agency resources?
Yeah, that makes the most sense, I think.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Yeah, agency, where does...
So agency is under interpersonal, but this is you really calling on somebody to get up out of bed. And the agency is really about knowing about how the FBI works and so on. But you could do this a couple ways. We can do this with the bureaucracy role. You can just spend from bureaucracy to get somebody to do this. Or you could spend from network.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking.
Okay.
This is not my expertise, but maybe I know something whose expertise it is.
Who is your fingerprint guy?
The fingerprint guy is a gal.
Okay.
And she works, maybe we did the training together. The FBI basic training, and she went into what would be what is a branch of a government agency that does the Silent of the Lamb, forensic stuff.
Oh yeah, essentially the profiling unit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what you do is you figure out how much you want to spend from your network pool. And this actually kind of stays reduced while you have them in play. And you put their name and a number of how much network you're spending on them under your contact/special training.
Network. I have 10 in network. Wow. Yeah. So I put...
this is a pretty easy thing. So if you put a couple points into them, you'll get a couple of good uses out of them.
Cool. I put in 4.
Okay. So they're serious friends. They're willing to go to the wall for you. They're willing to do, more complicated stuff. This is a basic thing. So just go ahead and give them a name, and they will, you get the stuff that Dr. Evans has given you. You flash it over, and they will, say, sure. Let me check on that, and they will be, it takes a little bit of time, but after a bit, they will come back and they will say, I've got a match for someone on the FBI watch list. Though it's been downgraded because it's one of the things they've told us to back office now, to push back. It's domestic terrorism.
Interesting.
Essentially a guy with some ties to some white supremacist Christian stuff by the name of Caleb Hauerwas.
Caleb, eh?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised that this hate group is the Sons of David.
He's got a couple. He's clearly bounced around, but yeah, he's with the Sons of David. Right now, they were on the FBI watch list for domestic terrorism and robbery, but they've canceled that list and they've moved that money to other priorities, so they're not following up on that anymore.
Does that sound fishy to you?
she pauses. She says, now that's what's coming down from the White House right now is all of they're deprioritizing domestic terrorism. They're deprioritizing white supremacist groups. They're deprioritizing, like we've got orders that have come down to put our attention elsewhere.
But you would assume that this is more like a political decision and not someone within, let's say, an agency pulling some, like it's not specifically targeted to the Sons of David. It's targeted to white supremacists.
No, groups. it's across the board for these groups.
All right.
That's the new reality right now.
Caleb Power was. Thanks so much. And I hang up and I tell Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans, didn't we have like an Adam Hauer was?
Yeah, as I lift the liver onto a scale.
You should eat a sandwich or something. That's a classic trope. But anyways.
How was? Yeah, that vaguely that rings a bell. But
was that the German family or something? I have to look through the notes.
There is
no,
a farm.
How was? Yeah, they have a farm. It was one of the farms that the Sons of David bought up, and near the accident where we were attacked, the nearby farm was the Hawass farm, I think.
Do you think that the print could, I mean, they sifted through our stuff while we were away, so I don't think it can be one of the dead bodies, can it?
It would have been logical, wouldn't it, to have taken the prints off the body in front of me
as well, yeah,
and try to put a name to that.
No, and clearly, these two are. That's a separate thing, is getting their names, but they're clearly out of towners.
Yeah. So
yeah, cool.
But certainly, it looks like Adam Hawass. Was here.
Yeah. Between the time that you burnt the bodies and went and did other things and came back here, clearly Caleb Hawass came through and checked the place out, kind of tossed it, kind of looking. Particularly, I mean, looked in the body trays, so wasn't looking for papers.
So Dr. Evans.
Go on.
Yeah. So Dr. Evans, how's the autopsy going?
Well, it would go quicker if you shut up, or come over here and take this liver off my hands.
Do I have to what's it called? Swap the sweat from your brow or something?
Pop the brow.
Jeez, this is not, some hospital drama. This is not ER.
Dr. Evans, this was a joke. I think I have to make
now
this...
with the jokes. Now with the jokes, Susan.
And I come over and shut up.
But it is good you're here, because I'm about to go into the head, and that's the bit I've been waiting to get to.
What you will find, Dr.
Oh,
Evans.
no, hang on. So power up the little circular saw, and start working my way, because brain out first. Let's not get greedy.
It is difficult to get the brain out, because there is a very strange mass that you will find there's kind of it's a tougher set of cells, it's a tougher set of material at the back of the neck, behind the ear, and then there is a set of additional cellular material that comes from that and is wrapped around certain segments of the brain and the stem of the spine, and it holds on.
Wow. This is fascinating. So look, what I'm going to do, Susan, is I'm going to take the top off the hemispheres, okay? And then I want you to get ready to photograph, and I'll work my way down in slices if I can, so that we can see what this reveals, because there's something holding it down in the hindbrain here. And did you say, Lowell, that there's actually some kind of mass behind the ear? Where
Yeah,
the scar is?
it's like there's definitely a harder material there that when it push on it, the skin doesn't quite give as much, and it seems to be the same matter as is attached to the brainstem there.
So work my way down through the hemispheres to clear them out of the way.
Can I have you make an athletics roll for me?
Athletics. I will spend 2 from athletics.
Okay.
And roll a d6. That is 3, 4, 5.
There is a moment when you slice, getting the hemispheres slit there. And there's a moment when you hit, and it's just that the slicer that everybody's like if you were running like a sandwich slicer, and there was that moment where you caught like a bit of bone or something where it kind of stuttered for a second, and it does that, and there is this spray that comes up like a mist. It kind of comes up, and you pull yourself back from this, and there's this shimmering golden shower of particulates that kind of fall to the ground.
That's never happened before, Susan, just so you know. And I'm curious. My guess is that I'm wearing mask.
Oh yeah, you have established that you're a CDC person.
And,
you are.
Yeah. And so I'm curious whether any of this settles on the front of the visor.
Oh yeah, it accumulates, and it reminds you when you saw that little mouth open, there was that little driplet at the edge of that teeny tiny mouth. And this looks like that. And when it hits the front of the mask, it kind of stays there like it's sticky.
Okay.
Like spilled ginger ale.
Or iron brew. So I think, sorry, that doesn't work here because none of you are in the game. No, sorry, slight game bleed there. So I think I will step away carefully from the body and tell Susan to hold out an evidence bag, big evidence bag, and I'm going to drop this disposable visor into it, seal that, and then get another one because and just look at where this has landed on the body.
Oh no!
Oh no!
And I suppose this would be a good. And I've declared science biology. I think I'm happy to declare chemistry as well. And do I need to make a spend from either of those to get some sense of whether this is animal or mineral, so to speak?
I think that's like another round of investigation. But I think what you've got is a hardened flesh sort of organ in the back of the neck that connect up to the brain, that when you slit part of it open, this
stuff comes
golden ichor sprayed out, and you can get that mass detached from the brain, cut and in a bag.
Fascinating.
I think the thing that will strike you the most is that this flesh is clearly, this mass is clearly the same biology that you saw elsewhere.
Except this is a distinct lump of it.
Yes.
Rather than transforming bits of him. It is an addition to, not a transformation of.
Absolutely.
And the point of attachment, you know,
like,
presumably I have to trim away the skin around this scar. I'm curious about that point of attachment.
It looks like a mass of undifferentiated flesh. Like you cut it open, there's no teeth.
Okay.
There's no tongue. Weird.
Okay. I like the idea that Susan is the Holmes to Dr. Evans. No, not the Watson to Dr. Evans, Sherlock Holmes, explaining all the stuff to the audience.
Yes. Let's take our first break here, and we will come back and deal with Jim and Jean talking with these two as they are wrapped up and caught. Does that seem good? Okay. So let's take 10 for our first break and we'll continue on. They are secured. They are secured in places that like remove the possibility of communication between them. So you can play them separately. And they're secured in a place where nobody like driving up cops or anything like that is going to, see that anything unusual is happening. Let's assume that it's the two of you, Jim, Jean. This guy is secured, and you've kind of chosen him as maybe like just at a like a few minutes of talking with them, like this guy's probably the guy of the two that maybe knows more.
Probably something like you see the other guy's eyes flick towards him before he says anything, right?
Yeah.
Like knowing that he's of course, the very first thing that we do before we've done any of this is that spot just behind the ear.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
Does it appear normal, or because it seemed to have?
Oh no, both of them have a slightly hardened mass and the appearance of a tiny telltale scar back there.
Okay, well that changes about what's going to happen to them at the end of this, I think. Yeah.
Jim, let's Jean kind of set her piece here. What are you doing?
I think the one that I've already intimidated, I think I'm willing to go sort of harder on him and really sort of break him down.
So this is questioning. This is not
so I was going to force the intimidation. I know torch is off the table.
Right. So intimidation, I think, is possible as a spend here, though the quality of info and potential for what you get may differ than working with him. Yeah. What is it if you go into the mode to intimidate? What is it you want to get from that conversation?
Why are they up here? And what links them to the sons of David?
Here's what you're going to get. I'm kind of translating this down to like the basic facts. Imagine that this takes a while of back and forth, some strain, that kind of thing. Eventually they'll say, there is a guy who belongs to our sect who ran away from our sect with money and stuff. Not entirely, like he's very vague on that. And we've been keeping our eyes open for him to take back what he took, and to, he violated the trust of our our sect, our group.
So a bit of revenge.
It's more than a bit of revenge. It is revenge. His name is Harawas. He was a member of our community, and we took him into our trust, and he and his wife violated that trust. That is why we are here. We are here to make him pay for his transgressions.
You were here to make him pay for his transgressions. That's all over now.
I think that's what you can get. Like I think that's the push and intimidation they'll give that, like that,
Yeah,
that
we've
basic
got the
stuff.
name of Wise here. I think it's more now down to Gene with questioning to get some more. So
this is a good cop.
Yeah, you know? pretty certain that what's going on, and to kind of connect up, is that this Adam Harawas arrived here just, maybe months, maybe a little over a year ago, came from somewhere else. His brother Caleb is a member of the Sons of David. You've got that fact established now. And the sense you get is that Adam Harawas came here to, call on his brother to get his brother's support. So Harawas isn't necessarily a Sons of David, but came here because his brother was, and that was the path. So Gene.
Yeah, I think Gene, are you going to go more on the sort of supernatural occult?
I'm going to do the typical pretending that you know more than you do.
Over to you then.
Yeah. And, you make that veiled threat about this is all you were doing this, and, that's over now kind of thing. And Gene will say, well, they can still make Adam pay. It's just that we'll do it for them. He took the flesh, right?
That gets a reaction, strong reaction of react and then simmer down.
I can see why he'd want it back. It's important. He knows how important it is. And the Sons of David have it now.
That's clearly that's new information. That's not something that they had considered or thought about.
Can I make a spend on my questioning using that information to basically throw him off balance and sort of keep wheedling away at him?
Let's have you make that spend. Your sense is that they don't believe that the Sons of David are involved with this flesh. They're pretty certain that Harawas has just come here for safety. That Harawas knows about the flesh. Harawas deeply involved in that, but they don't believe that Harawas would have gone to a group like the Sons of David, or even if they did, that the Sons of David would have any understanding of the kind of weirdness that this is.
Can I get a name of his group out of him?
The group that he belonged to?
Mm-hmm.
The group that he belonged to is that he belongs to are the prophets of Megiddo.
Nice. I largely wanted that just so that I can stop referring to them in roundabout terms in my notes,
I think both of you have enough fringe and resources and things. They are a known group. They're a fundamentalist group a la, do you guys know what the Phineas Brotherhood is?
I do, yeah.
So in the real world, the Phineas Brotherhood are a group of American evangelical Christian terrorists. They're militia. They do bombings, they do killings. They're strongly present in the Northwest. They're a real dangerous, nasty group of a kind of apocalyptic. They bomb abortion clinics. They're very, very, very nasty. This conservative, anti-government, syncretic Christian, but they definitely have popped up with those of you who have fringe or occult, that like they've got something more. This Prophets of Megiddo may have cultic ties, may have ties to the unnatural, and now this is pretty clear evidence.
Yeah.
And they are from Nevada. The group's headquarters is in Nevada.
So they're actually from Nevada. Okay. Gene, what says, oh, why can't any of you have been, Muslims or Antifa? That would have been so much easier. But so they think Adam's to the flesh. And they had a phone, right? He had a phone, and he was messaging someone on it. When he came into the building, right, into the barn, they texted. Oh, they rang the number, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are probably our local, other local contacts, right, in the area.
Yeah, you can tell that they're a cell.
Mm.
This guy probably has a person that he talked to face somewhere, but probably nothing on phone stuff.
And I'm going to whistle. I'm going to say, the things that they've been doing with it. Did you get a look at that kid?
We were sent to bring him home.
Oh, to bring him home. Well, I hope you brought a shovel and a dustpan.
The flesh is internal. It is forever.
How are you going to find it?
The new angels will speak to us. They come down, they whisper in our ears. You don't know anything about what's coming.
Just going to bite down on my meta sort of excitement there. The new angels will come down and whisper in our ears. Does it hurt?
Does it hurt?
And they reach over and tap the side of us,
When the angel blesses us, it is the most wondrous thing. And you will not know the glory that God has in store for you because you have turned away from it.
How would I get closer to God? What you show me, what I've seen. It's so incredible. Do I need to make another spend to try and lure him?
I don't think so. I think what he says is, it already knows you. If you truly want God in your heart, if you truly want to meet our angel, then it will find you. And it will not be pretty.
And Adam took that gift. And he took
perverted
more than that
it.
Gift.
He perverted it. He studied our ways and he perverted it and he took it. He tried to replace his loss and he perverted what was given to him as a gift.
The boy. Well, does anyone, because I don't feel
Jim?
there's any other angles that they wanted to ask about?
Well, I'll definitely say to my partner that, I think it's time we get one of them back to the doctor to perform a live extraction. Does that warrant any reaction from them?
I think they don't quite understand what you're talking about.
We'll excise that thing. We're going to draw it out.
Oh, you think they can be cured?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see.
Huh.
It's the only logical step. We just need to pick one of them to experiment on.
Oh, true. Well, I suppose blessings can be given and they can be taken away, can't they?
Exactly.
Not by your science.
We shall see.
I'm just trying to think, would I know? Yeah, I would know. And then I say, oh, well, science is a word for it, but it's much older than that.
And that's the point at which you kind of realize, like, whatever this thing is, they don't view it as a material thing. Like, they have no sense of that. And you say that science, and you kind of point towards hypergeometry and those things, and you start to get to the area like, these guys don't know.
Yeah.
These are foot soldiers.
Yeah, their understanding of this is entirely faithful, right? Like,
yeah.
Black bag them. Let's put them in a van and take them back.
I feel like this is maybe a tone thing, but
sure.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what my understanding of Delta Green would say if we told them we had two people with an alien substance in the head and then we need to bring them in for put them on ice, and they'd say, well, don't put them on ice, put them in the ground.
Well, no, I think the doctor would want to perform some live extraction.
I think that may be a real sanity burning experience across the board.
I don't think there's a non-sanity burning way of doing
exactly.
any of this. Yeah. I just wanted to check in if anyone's. Are we okay with executing our crazy religious prisoners?
I mean, out of character, yes, and in character, we have to have the discussion, I think.
I mean, that if there are things to be cleaned up, you can call in people to clean things up. Like in the past, though, and when you've had to deal with these things, you really haven't had to deal with prisoners before.
No, usually it's just picking the bodies up afterwards.
Exactly. This is the first time you've had to deal with that, and you just don't know.
You know what? I'll make an agency spend and talk to our handler.
I mean, if the boss says it's got to be done, it's got to be done.
Boss says, if you don't want to do this, then I will send people that will take care of them and get this cleared up. But you've already described this substance as infectious. So we can't take any risks right now. And then he says, it is particularly sensitive because they are involved with domestic terrorism and white supremacy. The higher levels, long pause. There are forces at work right now that are making it much more difficult for us to operate against those groups. To the point where we have to be very careful.
I understand.
They are hunting for us.
I'll take care of it.
That would be much better.
I don't want to deprive Alan of the chance to try and extract a live one if he wishes to.
It would be much. I mean, do you telephone the doctor?
Yeah. What are you telling the doctor? And then let's kind of let's see what our next step is from there.
Let's bring him in anyway, Gene. I think we've got to take him back to the coroners because it's the only safe way to dispose of them anyway with the incinerator. So that's going to be their final destination. Whether we do it before we shove them in the incinerator or not.
I was going to tell everyone that I was going to tell everybody else that I had contacted the agency when they were going to pick them up, and then I was going to send you off, and then we were just going to hear 2 gunshots, and we were going to cut away, right? Like,
it'll leave too much physical evidence. They need to go in an incinerator. Plus that thing that's in them, we can't allow any chance of spread.
It feels like the majority of people would like to have the conversation about this.
Yeah.
So let's assume that the 2 people are secured, no questions.
Yeah,
locked away.
We take their car as well.
Yeah, and we cut back to the coroner's office just as Susan and Dr. Evans have finished up. And again, Meta. Those 2 are secured. They're not going to get away. Nothing's going to happen to them right now. We'll put them like they're on ice nearby so that the 4 of you can have this talk about what to do.
Well, obviously, it's essential that we study one of these things alive, because I'm assuming that the thing that we've bagged is not moving, not doing anything, showing no signs of life.
That is correct. It looks dead.
So, we've got a dead one. If there's a possibility of getting a live one out, then that's great. But we would need much more equipment than what sits in this room.
And I think with your medicine roll, you'd be like 100% certain that detaching this would kill the person.
Exactly. So, from Marcus's point of view, this would require us to put him on some kind of, bypass. And do brain surgery on these guys. Now, I can do that. I've read the books on it, but I've never done brain surgery in my life.
Susan looks at Jim and Gene in the sense of who's going to tell him.
And just to make it obvious, because otherwise, the person's going to die.
I guess there's a chance, right, though, Doctor?
What do you mean a chance?
Well, even the worst brain surgery is better than an autopsy, right?
No, but you don't understand. This thing is deeply embedded in the brainstem. This is not like, okay, we'll make a hole, we'll go in and we'll pick out most of a tumor. This is intimately connected. And I'll show you the bagged example. You see this long tail here, and this is wrapped around, deep in the brain.
Marcus, regard them as the tumor. They are the cancer cells.
Yeah, what's most important here, Marcus, it is not saving human life. It's stopping infectious spread. So this thing needs to come out here.
So
just so I understand this, so you want me to anesthetize a human being and then go into their skull and prise out, as best I can, a thing?
If you want a living sample. You just said that that's the only way you can do it. We don't have a field hospital. We don't have a brain surgeon. We don't have the equipment. We can try and get you something better, but at the end of the day, we're not going to have a full operating theatre and assistants. It's going to be you in this room.
Just step away here.
Sure.
I cannot see how Marcus can do this without taking a stability hit.
Oh, well, no. 100%.
We will all
definitely
take
taking a stability hit. Yeah.
And I'm not sure ethically. I mean, I'm just looking at protect people. I think it's going to take some convincing for him to believe that killing someone on a table is going, if this person was distinctly infectious, any evidence of that?
And here's the other thing I'll say, just based on, let me follow up, and then I want to throw it to Horst. You're not entirely certain that even you're not sure that you could remove this thing alive, in a sense that given how you've seen how the cells operate and so on, you're not even sure if that is a valid or valuable step to take, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for all I know, this holding up the dead one isn't dead. It doesn't display to early investigation any signs of life.
Susan, you were going to say something?
Susan will try to convince Dr. Evans, but if Alan says, I'm a doctor, I've sworn to never cause harm, or whatever the oath is, Susan will say, imagine humanity being those who you have to protect from this. This is not human. This is so alien to our kind that we have to protect, and that we have, as the program that you are now part of, have sworn to protect against forces that these two people that we have represent. And if you want to protect humanity, or if you want to protect humans, you have to do terrible things. And if you say you can't do it, what you are actually saying is, I don't care if humanity is corrupted.
So I have to stop here because I want to get a sense. Susan, what are you pushing for? What is it that you want Dr. Evans to do with this?
I want him to do the autopsy to try to extract a living sample.
The vivisection is essentially what we're saying, right? Because it's a living autopsy of a person. Because
that is true. Trying to convince him that this is ethical.
Oh no!
I think Susan's line of argument is sound.
Thank you.
Line of argument, but if the doc doesn't want to go along with it, they are not leaving this area.
I don't think that Evans is in a place yet where this is something he could bring himself to do. Because this is vivisection.
Yeah. So let me cut and let me suggest a resolution here. I think there's some tension over this that I think that we can have as a piece of fiction for later. You have some of this material extracted from the dead body, so you do have that, but you will dispose of these two people. I think we kind of fade to black on the sound of the crematorium door slamming shut. I think we don't dwell on that otherwise, but you have some samples, and I think there's still some tension. Susan's worried that maybe that should have been done.
My question is more, even for hardened agents, I think to kill two people who are unable to defend themselves does something to you.
Yeah, it's definitely
we're gonna hit the. Yeah. I think we're gonna hit the stability thing.
Who does it?
I already volunteered.
Okay.
And do you tell Evans you're going to do it?
No, I think we have that. I would imagine at the end of that conversation was just, I understand, Doctor. If you don't think that this is more that you can, this is worth what you might be able to learn about this, then I understand and I respect your decision. Don't worry about it. You carry on with the autopsy. I appreciate that,
Gene.
Yes, you carry on. Could you tidy the lab here?
There comes a point where you have to make a decision, about whether if what she's saying is true about protecting humanity, how much of your humanity do you give up, and then it isn't worth protecting?
Yes, there is a point when you have to make that decision, Doctor.
Gene,
she smiles with a win, and she's going to go outside to the van where we've got them thingy. And
so this is potentially a 3-point stability loss.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take the 3-point hit, or do you want to roll to resist?
So the stability is the thing that I don't quite grasp entirely.
Okay, so here's the weird way it works. You could just take the 3-point hit, and we would put 1 tick on your adaptation to violence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which does clear if other things happen, or if a fail happens, that can break that streak. But the other option you have is you could say, well, I'm going to go for it and just spend 0, or I'm going to spend 1 stability, roll the d6, hope that I get a 3 or better. But if you don't, then there's more loss.
There's more loss if I roll for it, right?
If you fail, the margin that you fail by is added to the 3-point loss.
That's nasty.
The bond, Lowell, to assist, to lessen the stability damage to Jean.
You could certainly spend 1 for 1 off of your bond, straining that to reduce the stability hit there.
I will do that.
How much are you going to spend?
I will spend 1 of my 3.
Okay. So yeah, what I would do actually is put it 3/2, so we kind of know where the bond is and was.
Yep.
And Gene, that's just a 2-point hit.
I'll take the 2-point hit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely a 2-point hit. Is 1 for each of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess probably.
My question would be: do you shoot them? Because then, if you tell Susan will play music while Marcus is cleaning up. She will put on some jazz or something on the laptop.
Yeah. I shoot them. Yeah, I definitely shoot them. I shoot them with the guns that we took off the other assailants' bodies.
Some big band.
Pause while hosing down the embalming table. Turn to Susan and said, "Did you hear something?"
No, didn't hear anything.
All right, those 2 are out of the picture. They're dealt with. You have the details on them. You would have fingerprinted them, gotten all of that beforehand. So assume that you have that evidence on hand as well. To have this removed from this body, you can dispose of the body. You have the fluid, and you have the mass. And the question is, where do you go to now? What do you do?
Well, look, I can't do any. I don't think I can do any reasonable level of analysis of this stuff here. But I'm wondering where the nearest university lab is and whether I have a network contact there.
You can certainly spend.
If that's what we want to do. So no, I won't make the spend yet. But I don't think that I'm going to get you much joy in a mortician's with the equipment I brought in terms of analyzing this mass.
Yeah, it makes sense to outsource it. You're 100% right there, Doc. We haven't got the facilities here, so let's outsource that. So that sort of closes down that line of investigation until we get the results back on that. Susan, Jean, what do you think next?
Well, I think time-wise, right? Like, we've been doing this all night, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
let's go back to the motel.
You're muted, Alan, by the way, so didn't hear that.
Yeah, I just think we need. I drove here from Atlanta,
and then you got shot,
and then I got shot,
and then you did another autopsy,
and I've cut up 2 bodies. I'm dead on my feet.
And I think,
oh God, he's a walking zombie.
Yeah. I actually
if you want to continue on without sleep,
house.
if you want to continue on without sleep, I'm going to apply a 2-point health penalty. Otherwise, if you want to rest, catch your breath after all of this, then we will ignore that. But you probably need at least 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and daylight's always a good time. You know, if you're going to go anywhere officially, daylight's the better time to do it.
So everything's pointing towards Hawass, right? Hawass, right? Like, so, and we've got this vial that potentially points us towards any more of this material as well. So, like, to me, like on a Delta Green mission, it feels like we're almost entering that period where you sort of stop investigating the wider picture and just go straight at the problem, you know, however that might pan out. And the question is whether we do that officially or unofficially.
What do we think is the story? So the story is that Adam Hawass stole some substance that is called the Eternal Flesh, maybe?
Yeah, which I think is whatever they've got behind their ear. It's like a undifferentiated flesh, right? And that the kid, the original victim, he was a
son or something.
Yeah, the son. He was a full person made of this flesh, and they mentioned that Adam tried to replace his loss.
Yeah, so maybe his son died, and then he created this homunculus or whatever it's called. To replace him. But then the actual mission is not Adam. I mean, the actual mission is, where does the eternal flesh comes from? We have to clean up here and then follow the lead to Nevada.
Yeah, I think it'll lead us to Nevada.
Well, the mission is here. Your orders are here. That is the mission. Delta Green would be off program to leave here to go follow that further lead. Just to tell you how Delta Green operates. They want this situation. You are here to take care of it.
Yeah, the intelligence we can feed upwards, and if they turn around and say that's a future mission for us or for another team, so be it. Rest, horror of it.
Yeah, rest. In the morning, we have coffee and bagels and discuss our next.
Sure. We can do it like a once around if people want to check on things online or do any research before going in. Does that seem fair? Okay. It's a crappy motel room. Though Dr. Evans, are you sleeping in your camper with the broken window?
Yes, I think so. Given the opportunity.
Put cardboard and plastic up where the window was shattered.
Oh God, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. I'll have to fix that before I get back.
Yeah.
Joe is going to go ape shit.
You have to explain that.
Yeah. No, I'll go indoors, I think, because I'm also conscious that we brought a body back to the morticians in the back of it.
So it's a little like local motel. It's probably a Motel 6 knockoff that somebody has bought local and rebranded. It has 2 stars on Yelp, and pretty much a little like 7-Eleven style liquor store attached to it. But you'll crash, and in the morning you can get up. We'll assume mid-morning. Get yourselves showered, shaved, cleaned, changed, blood and other ichor and things washed off. And there is a diner in town. You can stop there. Everything's served in like mason jars for the.
Was this cute diner in a train or something?
Yeah, there's that one little place in the train. Yeah,
that looks lovely.
Yeah, it's cute. We're midweek, so it's mostly like retirees this late in the morning, and you can eat. And does anybody want to do like? Is there something you want to investigate or check in before we get to the conversation about the next step? Gene, do you have something you want to look into? Anything you want to check before we kind of like? I just want to take a check around.
I think the thing I want to do is talk to the sheriff about the Howawasses. I know that's kind of tipping our hands, but he's essentially a friendly in this situation, right? And he's our local contact as best as possible, and he can give us some background about like the farm, the trouble they've got into, pretext, how the Sons of David might react if we go in there like officially after Hawawas.
Here is what he will tell you: is he knows Caleb Hawawas is a guy who is part of the Sons of David. He's one of the people on the compound. Relatively well positioned, like he's one of the elders. I know that his brother came into town. It was a year ago. He got kind of vague on that, and that he must have asked his brother for help, because his brother got Harawas set up on that farm, Harawas. And he says, I know he has a wife, but I've never seen her. They keep to themselves. They're not with the Sons of David, but they're real isolated. They've been doing some farming there, but I don't think it's gone particularly well, and they don't like do well with the neighbors, and they certainly put up some serious barbed wire fence around the property.
Thanks, Sheriff. This definitely has some interstate connections, but we're going to try and take care of it for you, okay?
You think that Harawas is the cake dealer in the area?
I think he brought cake in, yes.
Okay.
And I think that, well, we'll have
just
to see
give me a heads up
goes.
when it's all over, he says.
Yes, of course, Sheriff, of course.
Jim, let me come to you. Is there anything you want to look into, check, do before? I mean, clearly, like the Harawas place is probably where you guys are going next. Is there anything you want to do?
No, I think Gene's sort of done wherever I'd go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Dr. Evans, anything that you're looking into, researching, getting?
No, I just phoned home and explained that I've had to spend more time at the University of Michigan than I'd anticipated, lest my wife get concerned.
Do you mention the damage to the vehicle?
No.
Okay.
I think I'll keep that one for later.
All right. And Susan, anything that you are doing?
I get the layout of the farm, like where satellite images, maybe.
Absolutely.
Google Maps.
With data retrieval, you can easily do that. You get a good map of the farm. Main house, drive up, has a couple of barns, has fields out back and some out front. It has a lot of stands of pines that provide a good cover. Like, it's kind of hard to see the house itself or the grounds from outside, except for a couple of lines of sight. And that seems to be a pattern amongst the Sons of David farms. Like, they clearly try to keep it so people can't just look in and see.
Also provides cover for us, obviously, when we want to get in.
There's something weird, though, I think, that you will notice. This is what you're good at. You're good at looking at evidence, looking at patterns, things like that. I think you will notice that there are, as you kind of do a check the satellites over time, he has clearly done digging on the site in multiple different places over time. Maybe 7 or 8 different spots spread out from one another. You can't tell, why would somebody dig that spot? It's not like they're digging a well. but there's certainly, it looks to you, based on your experience with the FBI, like if this was a farm where a serial killer was burying their bodies, this is what it would look like.
Can we say that Gene took, I do remember that we saw like a plot of the land in the sheriff's office somewhere, that Gene got a copy maybe, so that I can, circle the places where he dug up shallow graves.
Yeah, you can mark that.
And then, I also comment on Gene's choice of bagels. Like, what are you doing? Biting in her donut, obviously. I mean, what do they teach you?
Gene is just staring out of the windows vaguely, like looking at like off in the distance. And, what? Bagels?
Donuts? You don't do donuts in wherever you're from?
She just takes the coffee and leans back out of the window, still thinking about things that have happened in the last 24 hours.
And Susan dawns on Susan that Gene had to do the thing. And she leaves him be.
So, 2 vehicles, 1 vehicle. How are you doing this?
2 people are quite stealthy, 2 people aren't.
I'm not sure if Dr. Evans, I don't know, Dr. Evans, are you willing to use violence?
I think Marcus wants to understand the objective here. So what's the intention?
Well,
what interests him.
Terminate.
See, I think that the question is find out what Howarth has at that barn, and like, because these people shot at us, remember, like the ones that we set the trap up for and everything, like they came at us with lethal force, and Adam at the moment is weird, but probably the man in the field or whatever, right? But I don't think that we're quite on the kill mission yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's find out what's at the farm. Like, what's he building in there? Like the Tom Waits song.
And we do have some missing persons, don't we?
God, yeah, I forgot about the missing persons.
So
2 young girls and a handyman.
Based on that knowledge, is it worth me and Susan stealthily going in the barn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our objective should be going in and burning it down, whatever we see.
But I tell you what we're at the moment. I feel we're in the surveillance section of the farm. We are going to do our best. If that requires some stealthing up to the perimeter and checking it out, and then
So I think we see 2 vehicles moving, cautiously at a distance, surrounding the farm, trying to keep eyes down, and let's see. I'm gonna roll a die. Come on. Dr. Evans, you're driving. Kind of, Susan, you're doing the surveillance on that. Kind of moving along. And you see, like at the edge of the property, outside the fence, you see this child. At the edge of the property, you will recognize him. You've seen him before. You have a picture of him. He's dressed in the same clothing. He's standing at that fence, like trying to get in, but something is keeping him back. Let's take our second break, and then we'll continue on. 5 minutes. What do you do, Doctor?
Pull up swiftly and get out the car and begin heading towards the boy.
Okay. Kind of, he is at the side of the road. There's kind of the berm, a little bit of that. It kind of drops down to a ditch, and then he's on the other side of that. by this this barbed wire fence. There's some pines on the other side. You can maybe just make out through a gap in there, the house in the distance.
And when I get close enough, I mean, I'm curious what Susan does. What
do you do, Susan? You see this?
Jump out the car.
Jumps out, runs towards this child that looks identical to the dead child.
I would like to stop Dr. Evans, but verbally. Marcus, what are you doing?
This is an incredible opportunity. We have to encourage him to come this way.
Marcus, just let me check if, we can be seen. And I'm trying to survey the area, whether or not, we're watched.
I think Marcus is aware that he should not be spotted from the house, but I don't, he spent his only stealth. so Marcus is trying to not be obvious.
Before I come back to Jim and Jean, Susan, do you want to try and make sure that the doctor can't be seen?
Yes.
Then I think that's a stealth roll.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Stealth is
general ability.
5. Yeah.
You got some points in it. Yeah.
But I want to keep my points for later.
I know you do, and yet I'm going to make you spend them.
I want to roll just a flat D6.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Roll. And I got I got a 4.
A 4? You're pretty certain you haven't been spotted? Doctor? Child still looking out onto the inwards?
I want to encourage the child to step in my direction away from the fence. Hello there. Can I help at all?
Child will slowly turn and it looks at you and it starts walking towards you.
I would like to, if I spend reassurance, I'm not quite certain what general skill applies to stopping a constructed golem from going apeshit on you.
An unnatural being. Let's not use the word golem. An unnatural being. It's moving towards you.
And I say, yeah, come, let's head this way. And I kind of move back towards the camper.
It keeps moving towards you.
And what I want to do is to get it in the back of the camper.
We'll come to that in just a second.
It's the last thing I say before we fade over to the other group. The last time we had a homunculus in our midst, it spread, and you were very, very scared of.
And that's why I want to secure it in this camper, where there's a chance it won't.
Jim, Jean, you're patrolling around outside, checking things out. Can I have one of you either make a notice spend or roll sense trouble?
I can make a notice spend.
Okay. I will also say that you could also make a fringe spend.
Sure, why not? These points are all for being used.
They are. One of the things that you will notice, and we'll assume then, Jim, that you're driving.
Yeah.
Is you're kind of looking, and you are like on the other side of the grounds, other side of the plot from where Susan and Marcus are, just because you want to kind of keep that rolling. There is a strange slant to the light as you're looking in at the farm. And you're kind of like what is going on? And then there's this moment when you like take your binoculars, kind of looking, and you see that they have some livestock. And you see this sheep that's walking there. And it kind of turns, and you see that its head is kind of twisted around multiple times and at a weird kind of turned angle. And like the more you look at it, the more that the lamb just itself looks wrong. Can I have you make a difficulty 2 stability test, or just take the hit? You are muted.
I'm going to roll for the difficulty 2 stability test.
Okay.
That's a 5.
It's a 5. So you will not take the hit on that. You're like, okay, that is not good.
Jim, do you see that? Pass in the binoculars.
I'm driving. I'm not going to fucking.
Well, I get you to stop. You know, I obviously grab your arm and we pull over, and you're going to look through the binoculars. You don't have to. It wouldn't be one of these games if you didn't force the other players to look at the unnatural.
What have you seen, Jim?
Just look. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, and I'll look over there. Is it a weird fucking sheep?
Oh, yeah. There are several of them. Like spiralized, weird, twisted sheep kind of walking and hobbling.
So is it, there's a strangeness about the light around the farm, and this is like an optical sort of effect, or are we saying that we see these animals as mutilated?
You can't tell whether these animals are actually mutilated or there's some kind of weird optical effect that is doing this. Like you literally can't tell. Jim, 2 points stability.
Yeah, I will spend 1 and make a roll.
Okay.
There is my roller.
I'm kind of imagining a Junji Ito scene here.
Yeah. That is, in fact, what I am referencing here.
Oh, nice. Because that brings it very much to life in my mind, you know?
Yeah, it looks like a Junji Ito illustration that you see, you realize as you're looking like not on the outside, but as you look kind of deeper in, like even the trees themselves seem like they've weirdly turned and fractaled. And there's a wind that kind of goes across, and you see the pattern in the grass that's not been mowed, kind of left stain that kind of goes in this weird swirl pattern. And you realize that the sheep, like, they are moving in a circle.
What kind of weird, fucked up David Cronenberg shit is this?
Where's it coming from?
I don't know, but we're about to go in there, and that ain't good.
And I guess that's when I pull out the, you know, we're going in like loaded, I think now, right?
Okay.
Like we're not going to be doing any kind of like
recon.
Yeah, it's going to be a loaded an infiltration of the place. But what I mean is that like if we get seen, we're not going to be like, hey, FBI.
Yeah.
So you two are parking, getting your gear together, and getting ready to go over the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you telling the others?
We will warn the others
that
clearly expect some weirdness. And I think
Susan, let's sync up the time here. Susan, you're seeing this child moving towards Evans. Evans is moving towards the camper, and your phone rings.
Yeah, I draw my gun and the phone.
Okay. Jim, what are you telling Susan? Jim?
Susan, there is definitely signs. This is 100% a Delta Green mission.
No shit, Sherlock. We have the fucked up child here with us, and Dr. Evans is hell-bent on bringing it in.
Oh, from where we are, we got some hypermetric geometry going on.
Should I get in as well?
Yeah, I think we need to assault from multiple angles, or at least be prepared. Do not go unarmed.
Got it.
Don't let them fucking touch you. You hear Gene spit over the phone.
Not planning to.
Dr. Evans, this child's going in for a hug.
Well, the objective is to stay far enough ahead of it. I want to have about 10 yards on it before I get to the back of the camper.
Okay, and then it gets to the back of the camper.
Well, then I make a preparedness roll to see if I've got an isolation shower, a collapsible isolation shower, which is basically a plastic cylinder.
Yeah.
That goes down flat. And as the child steps on it,
let's have you make that preparedness roll. This is a little more exotic here.
I think I'll spend 3 on this.
Okay.
That is 5. Do I have anything akin to that I can try to put,
you can
put the child
that
into?
Let's have you make an athletics roll to get this over the kid before the kid can get to you.
Yeah, this is a more challenging. So my last 2 of athletics.
Okay.
That's a 5.
5 plus 2, 7. So I think you will get it onto him, and you're just kind of at the you step away, but as the child gets close to you within a meter or 2, as you kind of step away, can I have you just lose 1 point of will?
You can.
As you feel like something just kind of takes the breath out of you. And then you've got this kid in this shower and
throw him into the back of the camper and lock the back of the camper van.
Okay, yeah. I think you do that quickly because it's still moving and still trying to move towards where you're at. Once it gets in, it's like it's in a big habit trail in this thing moving around inside your camper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Jim.
I've got it. I've got the kid.
Let's do Jim and Gene, and then we'll come back to Susan. Jim, Gene, you going over the fence?
I think the last, as we're going over the fence, and you hang up the phone, the last word is, "I've got him. I've got the kid." Just look at each other like, what the fuck?
Well, get over the fence here, and right away you can kind of feel like something is wrong in the air, the quality of the light here. As you move along, you will see that the pines, like the pine needles, you see them, and you realize that there's pine needles, and then they have little pine needles coming off the little pine needles, and then little pine needles come off of that in this fractal on it's not the whole tree, it's just segments of it.
I'd like to make a stability check.
Yes, please do. Let me give you the full scene before I have you make your stability check.
Well, because
here.
now it's infecting the land,
You'll see that there is ice on the ground, like in patches, and you can see that there are cracks, and those cracks run in a swirling fractal pattern. You see there's a car on blocks there, and you can see there's a crack in the windows of it, and that swirls in that same identical pattern. And when you see that flock of those sheep, they are moving in a swirl and like you kind of don't want to look towards the center of it because it has almost a vanishing point. You will also see like one of those spots, those dig spots, that you can see there's a plastic barrel that dirt hasn't been thrown over it. And there's a farmhouse and it's very quiet here. Like the sound isn't carrying like it ought to. Can I both of you make a difficulty 3 stability? Either take the hit or make the roll.
I will spend a point.
Okay.
To make the roll.
Just don't roll a 1.
Rolled a 6. That's a 7.
You're good. You're fine. Agent Oliver?
I'm going to difficulty 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make a difficulty 2 roll.
You spend 2 on it?
Spend 2, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whew.
You're also fine. But this is unpleasant.
Jean is going to, like grab onto Jim's shoulder and you just see her fingers like digging in, and like, it's not.
Don't look at it, Jean.
What the fuck, Jim? And like you hear her just like gag, for a second and then fight it back. And then like just like pat you hard on the shoulder. And like I imagine like the way we're moving through this area is like not so like proper tactics and we're still trying that, but like we're more kind of like holding on to each other for reassurance whilst we do that.
Each other.
Let me come to the person who doesn't have a partner for reassurance. Susan, gun out, phone out. You will step over and start moving onto the grounds there. And it's a little bit less on this side, but like you can see the twisting, feel that things, like you feel it in your ears, like that pressure kind of pop as you go here. And it almost like a weird bad overlay in some places where it kind of shifts off, like when somebody does one of those kind of blur tools on something, but then starts to move it back and forth. It's a little bit like that. And I think that you will see that there is over here a spot in the ground that like something like as a burn spot in the center. And then out from it are cracks in the earth that kind of do that fractal pattern. And then this bird, this twisted ball of a bird flies past you like a swirl, like somebody took a crow and swirled it in on itself and it still somehow flies past you. Can I have you make a 3-point stability check?
I will spend, let's see. This is scary. Where's my stability at?
Top.
Oof. I have 2 out of 5 stability. What happens when you go to 0?
So when you go to 0 on stability, come back to that. Okay. If your stability ranges from 0 to -5, you are shaken. You can still do your job, but you seem distracted. You can't spend pushes from investigation. Your difficulty numbers for all general tests increase by +1. And if an unnatural shock, which this is, rendered you shaken, you're going to reduce your max stability.
So I don't want to spend 2, I guess. I have to spend 1.
Okay. Just don't roll a 1.
Not planning to.
So you are
5.
You have 1 stability left. You are just on the edge of shit.
Yeah, I think that the bird does it probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I call. Well, I don't know. I don't call. I think now we're in stealth mode.
There is no signal here.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm trying to stay stealthy. I don't know if I have to roll and increase my speed.
Okay.
To get.
So your intent is to like catch up with those two, meet up with them?
Yeah, meet up with them from a different angle, obviously.
Okay.
Different direction.
So
keep low, like running low, hunched.
Yeah. So, and just to tell you, I'm also being gentle on the stability there for this first mission because the rules are actually worse than this, but I'm staying gentle with it right now. You can also spend from your bonds for stability tests.
Oh, yeah.
But when you do that, then that means that you are going to have to do some stuff bad with that relationship afterwards. So just keep that in mind. So what I want to do is give a chance for, like, as you're moving, I want to do Jim, Jean, Susan, like investigation wise or action wise. I want to check in with each of you, and then I want to come back to Dr. Evans. Jim, what do you want to do here as you're moving along? Are you looking for something? Are you checking something out? Are you what are you aiming for the house? What is it that you're doing?
I would like to use military science to formulate the best method of going into that farmhouse, to minimize any kind of minimize chance of risk, basically.
It looks like if you slide around back, like they've got a couple of these like old vehicles on blocks or set up here. You can use those as cover and make your way to what must be like the back kitchen door that kind of goes out to the backyard. If you make that spend, you're pretty sure like that's going to give you the most cover and the most opportunity to surveil the site as you move along.
Yeah, I've made that spend. That definitely is worth it.
So you're moving along.
Take to Jean, this way.
Are we right by that barrel, did you say?
Yeah, there's a barrel there.
Shallow grave.
Yeah.
As Jim's, like working out the best way, and about just before we move on to that, I'd like to just, like peer at the barrel.
You want to take the lid off?
No, I definitely don't want to take the lid off.
Okay.
No, if I have
then
to
you
take
see
the lid off,
then you see the top of a blue plastic barrel.
Yeah, I look at it and just shudder, imagining what's inside.
Okay.
And follow Jim.
Do you want to do any kind of investigation spend or looking around or checking anything as you're going along here?
I think that Jim's plan of finding the best location, the safest location in this fucked up place to get a lay of whatever the land is a good call for now.
Well, he's made that spend, so you have the opportunity to make another spend. I'm just giving you the chance here.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm trying to think if traffic analysis might help me identify some sort of,
pattern
to this, some sort of pattern to this pattern. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's make a traffic analysis spend.
Yeah. As I ignore Jim's advice and I look.
Okay, I think you will see that there's definitely sort of a motion to the cracks and the fragments, sort of the direction to where Susan is coming from. And I think, link up, you can see that probably that spot, that burnt spot that Susan said, like whatever this is, kind of coming out from that. I'm going to give you the other thing that you'll notice is that there are some weird spots where the cracks are on the windows of the car and things, and you see that. But then there are a couple of void zones where that effect is not occurring on the car. And you go and look, and you'll see that like there's none of this effect around the speakers, like in the back window of the car or in the side, like in a zone around there.
Of the speakers.
Yeah, like the car speakers, like they've got the like back mounted. I don't know if you've ever seen a shitty American cars where people have just like bought speakers and set them up with wires. This is what I grew up with in the 70s and 80s.
We'd call them parcel shelf speakers.
Yeah. But there's no, like, there's a gap around those where there's none of that effect. Like, imagine that there's a layer of frost that has this pattern on the back window, but none of that by those.
Well, Jean doesn't have any science, so she's probably unlikely to be able to work out what that signifies.
I am more than happy with that decision. Susan, do you want to try and get over to where where Jim and Jean are?
Yes, but I don't want to sense trouble.
Are you more interested in sensing trouble, or are you more interested in not being seen?
Oh, I'm definitely more interested in not being seen.
Okay, then let's have him make a stealth test.
Cool. Stealth is my forte, I think. I am spending 2 stealth.
Okay.
And let's have the roll. Roll d6 plus 2. Modifier. Yeah, an 8.
Oh yeah, you've got some ground to cover, but you move quickly. You remember your FBI training, keeping the patterns. You're not looking at this stuff. You know where they are. You've seen their movement, and I think within a minute you have closed the gap, and you're up there behind Jim and Jean, and like you're pretty certain that nobody from the house could have seen you.
Susan is pale, and she says, "This is fucked up."
And I think probably it's at that stage, at that point where Jean turns to Jim and points out this sort of null zone that Jean has seen but can't.
Yeah, Jean's just like, what the? Why fucking not there? None of this makes any fucking sense. Why the fuck not there?
And I'll sort of look in the back window of this car where Jean sort of pointed this out, seeing these speakers, and I'll whisper to Jean and Susan, magnets.
Or sound.
Yeah, but these aren't working, right?
It's not turned over in years, Susan. It's on blocks. It's the general, I think it's the general magnetic field that a magnet would continually put out.
Magnets? How do they work?
Thank you.
I'm obliged to note that Susan has an undefined science expertise.
Physics?
Yeah.
I will define it as physics.
And then I think you can tell that whatever this weird, strange, twisting fractal field out of space, the magnets seem to interact with it. But I need to check in with Dr. Evans and his habit trail.
I would like to ring my handler because I want a CDC isolation tank dropped here in a helicopter.
Let's have you roll bureaucracy.
Oh, not agency. Okay. Bureaucracy.
Agency, again, is reflects your knowledge of, I guess it is. Now, if you want to go through Delta Green, that's bureaucracy to talk to them. Agency is you go to your actual CDC. and call on them.
Yeah, it wouldn't occur to him not to do that.
Okay.
So he will spend one agency in order to get the nearest regional CDC base to drop an isolation tank on this road.
So there, the CDC, there, you talk to a person, let's say University of Michigan seems like a likely site there. You'll talk up, and they say, why? They're going to do it, but I want to know what you tell them.
I'm talking to Jim Belters. I would like to spend network points to define my old friend, Jim Belters.
Okay. How many points of that do you want to put into him?
I want to spend 2 points on Jim.
Reduce your network by 2 and put that by him.
And I'm hoping that the fact that I've added him now as a contact is enough for him to just trust me on this one, Jim.
He says, look, I can get this scrambled, but when we're talking at least 2 hours before I can have anything to you, because I got to get it out of storage. I got a copter, and then I got to get it out to that spot. Is this something I need to be worried about? That's all I want to know. Is it something hot?
You just need to trust me, Jim. When have I ever steered you wrong? Remember New Guinea?
Okay. I think this is a big ask. So please put 2 in parentheses behind Jim and then lower that rating down by 1.
Okay.
Like he's like, yes, but you're going to explain this to me at some point.
Of course I will.
This is a big ask I'm doing. It's my ass on the line. Okay. So you're making that call. Jim, Jean, Susan, you will hear the sound of a screen door opening, and you will see this guy step out onto the front porch and looks kind of pale and drawn, and you see him kind of look around. Clearly just stepping out, hasn't seen you, hasn't heard you.
Do I have a good shot on him?
Oh, fuck yeah.
House.
You shout that out, and his first instinct is going to be to bolt back in.
I fire a shot like, freeze.
Are you firing a shot at him, or are you firing a shot to engage intimidation?
I'm firing a shot, in the direction that he would probably be running back towards the house, right? Like I shoot at that kind of
thing.
Yeah.
Then
I don't have a point of intimidation though, so how would that work?
I think that's going to be a firearms test then.
Okay. I will spend 1 firearms.
Okay. Just don't roll a 1.
That's a 3.
That is a 3. You rolled a 2 plus 1. So I think, here's what I'm going to say. I think that rather than driving him inside, he realizes that. And I think that if you're facing along the line of this, starts to move towards that, you fire the shot and he starts heading away. Like clearly not running for cover. He's running in a different direction. Jim.
I would like to use the butt of my pistol, smash this car window and pull out one of these speakers.
Yeah, absolutely. You can grab onto that, no problem, and get a hold of that. Susan, what are you doing?
I mean, somebody has to stop the house guy. Yeah, I think.
You have 2 choices. You could
bold,
could bold and athletics to chase him down, or you could shoot him.
I will shoot him.
Okay.
And I will shoot to kill.
All right.
And I will spend 2 of my firearm.
All right.
And let's roll. That is a 5.
That is a 5. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
D6 coming up. And that's a 1.
That's a 1. So you will wing him, and I think like he will get hit and kind of drop to the ground, sort of like halfway between the house and like that burned spot that he was running towards.
Yeah, well, I will shoot and immediately run after him.
Okay. Let's do another round of you, and then I just want to check if Dr. Evans is doing anything after that. Back to you, Gene.
You
hear a scream from inside the house.
I heard a scream from inside the house.
Yeah, because there's gunfire out here.
I yell at Jim, cover the house, and I'm going to sprint up to next to Susan and Hauerwas, and I'm going to, kick him over.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, what did you fucking do? What did you fucking do? Where does it start? How do we stop it?
Protected us. It kept coming every day. Every day it would come again and again and again. And I kill it and I bury it and it comes again and again. So then this is the only thing I called, and it's just, it stays out now. It stays out.
The fucking.
And you can see where the blood is coming out of his wound. You see when it falls, you see it twists in the air, and like, he's bleeding more than he ought to. Like it's kind of doing this weird fractal pattern on the ground near him.
As it pulls into spirals on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think that the kid is a great time to cut away from this scene. If anyone wants to do anything else, then feel free.
I mean, I will handcuff the guy.
Absolutely. He's weak and thin, like he's been drained. As you kind of slap those cuffs on him, you have to do him tight because you're afraid that his hands will just slip right out there. And it's almost like the ground is just drinking up that blood. Jim.
Into the house.
You see this haggard, pale woman, maybe bed sores on her, hair kind of falling out. She looks like a cancer patient, and she's kind of like, she screams, but that like took all of her energy, so she's catching her breath now, and she's like, "Where's my son?"
Your son's dead.
No, he's here. He's
on the ground. Get on the ground.
So she's sort of past reason. What do you want to do? Like this, like you're talking to her and you're not even sure if she's hearing you.
I think that meets the requirements of a legal challenge. I think I'm going to pop a cap in her.
Okay. I don't think you need to roll, but I do want the stability check for you shooting this woman.
Okay.
I think that's I think that's 3 points for shooting a helpless woman in cold blood.
Okay, let's spend 1.
Okay.
And make that roll.
So you're going to lose 4 stability.
Okay.
but
still there.
She drops. Dr. Evans. Something blows up inside of your camper van. Like you hear it give up. And from where all of you are kind of standing on the grounds of this, you will see like earth pop up in places, and you'll see the lid on one of those plastic things, the one that you passed by and didn't look in, Gene, goes flying up in the air. And just like weird, like explosive geysers.
This is going to take some explanation, but I stuff a handkerchief into the fuel tank and light it.
Okay.
To a safe different distance. There comes a point.
And I think Harawas, he just closes his eyes. I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill her. But it kept eating at her. She called it. She wanted him back so badly. And I had the flesh. And I brought it, but then it was killing us. So I killed it. But it kept coming back.
Do you still have the flesh?
It's gone now.
Good.
And he kind of sits up, and you will see from the back of his head, like there's a big hole, like part of the back of his head blew open. And he kind of sits up, and you see gore and blood and fluid just running down his shoulder.
I'm curious if Susan notices any similarity between that fluid and what we saw in the autopsy.
This is brain fluid. This is spinal fluid. This is blood. This is ichor.
So this flesh, whatever this flesh is exploded essentially, right? Like with the death of the mother. I think that,
this particular instance of it has.
Yeah. And Gene's gonna, like scream, oh, as it sprays out, right? Like,
I hate to ask, but does that warrant a stability test?
I think it does. So
can I project it onto one of my bonds, maybe?
Well, here's what you can do. I can tell you the difficulty, and you can spend for the test from your bonds, it basically reduces the difficulty. So I'm going to say another 3 because I'm being generous. Do you want to spend from your bonds to reduce that, Susan?
Yes, please.
What bond are you engaging with?
Let's see. I have my parents, and where are the bonds? My ex-partner, that's just one. I think can I do like 2 and 1 or something?
Sure, that way both of them will be imperiled.
So I do 1 on my parents. And I do 1 from my ex-partner, which is now 0. So that is 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Do me a favor and put an asterisk by both of those so we know that we need to deal with that. Gene. Difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3. I'm gonna spend 2 points again. And that's an 8.
You're fine. You're fine.
And as he's like, I'm gonna just like stammer forwards. I'm gonna say, what did you do to keep him out? What did you do to keep him out? Where is it? What did you do to keep him out?
He gestures towards the burn spot.
Okay. Because there's the flesh and then there's this spiraling ship.
Jim, what are you doing?
I'm going to start searching the premises.
Okay.
If there's
By
any
the way,
victims, civilians.
You check this out. It's a very conventional house. The woman has clearly been bedridden. There's real kind of survival supply kind of styles of the food and things here. But then you also find that he has a room and there is a bunch of papers with weird shit drawn on them. Like the stuff that you've seen before, hypogeometric rituals, notes, that kind of thing. It looks like this is some kind of like spell book in multiple pages, like hand copied and annotated. And you can grab that up.
Yeah, I'm not interested in looking at it at all. I'll just put it in a bin bag. Yeah, but it needs to be removed from population.
Susan, Jean, as you kind of standing there, and then I want to get Susan's reaction. You will hear a whoof off in the distance, and you'll see black smoke and flames start to come over from where the RV was. What are you doing, Susan?
Well, I do need to make the roll, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, if you spend it down, like that reduces the loss. So if you spent those 3 points, you don't even need to roll.
I mean, I spent 2, but it was difficulty 3.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So you still got 1 point to deal with. You
So
could just take it, or you could roll.
Well, I have 1 point of stability left, so why not rolling?
Okay. Yeah, just don't roll a 1.
What can go wrong? And it is obviously a 1. Is it? Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to lose a point of stability, and you're going to hit to 0, and you are going to be shaken right now. And because that was an unnatural thing that did it, you are going to reduce your max stability by 1.
Cool.
That can be recuperated through therapy and things like that. But right now, Jean, you see Susan is just glass-eyed.
They could choose to take a break, right?
Yeah.
You could choose fight, flee, or collapse, or flight, fright, or freeze.
Yeah. You could do that instead of reducing that max sanity.
But you can only do that so many times, of course, as well.
Yeah, you use that up.
I think it's okay. I think she's shaken, like visually, hands are shaking, and she's pale. But still able to at least move on her own will. I do like by the fact that we have already only seen Jim being really like a tough guy, but shooting that woman obviously affected him.
Yeah, and none of you saw it happen, so you don't know exactly what occurred. I would like to hard frame kind of this bit so to kind of get to the wrap here. I think with Jim's realization and Susan's physics knowledge, I think you realize that you can slow, stop, contain whatever this is with magnets. You've got that source, kind of put that around that. There's a sphere that's in there that is clearly a proto, like a baby version, hasn't grown yet of the fractal out of space. And if you put the magnets around it in close proximity, because it's only been up for a couple of days, that storm, the ice storm that was called, like was the visible signal of that. It will die if it is cut off and encircled by the magnets.
Nice.
But there's also the dealing with the CDC incoming helicopter, unless you call that off, Dr. Evans.
Well, funny thing, Jim. Turns out, don't scramble a chopper. And then I think I need to ring my handler using bureaucracy, say, slight confusion at this end. Might need a bit of cover with a guy called Jim Belters at the CDC in Ann Arbor.
Absolutely. When you call your handler, a different voice answers.
Who am I speaking to?
Is this Dr. Evans?
It is.
My name is Holloway. I'll be handling things for you from this point. If you are contacted by your previous handler, do not reply. That is a trap. I'll give you more information as I can in the future. In the meantime, finish out your mission as best you can.
Should I mention this to the others?
I don't know which of them has been compromised. Please don't.
That will be fine.
And it gives you whatever the passcode was for that your handler used. And I think we'll maybe do a little bit of cleanup on this at the start of the next session, but I think that's where I want to stop for today. I will, at the start of next session, give you experience so you can buy stuff up, including if you want to buy your stability up or anything like that, or make some changes. Well, I also have a chance, because after the first mission, if there's points you want to shift around, you'll have the opportunity to do that now that you've had a chance to see how things play out. Does that sound cool? I would like to do a quick stars and wishes. Horst, can I start with you?
Yes, well, stars for you, because I really like the Ito visuals. It was adequately weird and strange. Yeah, it was a really good scenario, I have to say. And wishes is, just keep on doing that.
Okay. And one of the things I know you'd asked for before, and we'll definitely get next time, some of the home scenes, the office scenes, those like dealing with that and dealing with, being in the bureaucracy and how you explain things away. Will.
I'd echo the whole scenario and the confluence of creepy Lovecraftian things it could have been, and that I suspect it may be, and all of the other stuff. It was great. And, I loved taking out those militia people who were some good kind of like mundane type people, like just fighting people with guns is a challenge in itself. And then I was very happy that when we walked into the farm, it was just fucked up central. It was great. And I'm happy that Dr. Evans is now roped into a whole new level of paranoia and mystery. And I really enjoyed just how like frantic like it felt going through that, unsettling going through that area, and like when we were split up into the two different views, and then Jim kills the woman, and I kind of imagine that as like, she doesn't stop when she comes at him. So it's like the law enforcement kind of like, it's not a callous and like off the cuff kind of thing. It's like he fires because that's the training, and then it's like, what the fuck, and then everything goes even more what the fuck outside. I loved all of that.
Awesome. Any wishes?
Wishes? No, more weirdness. Maybe okay. Like a different environment, I suppose. But I'm guessing you've got a lot of things, but like we're in the rural areas, and I feel like city areas give you other challenges and other skills to bring to bear, kind of stuff,
Okay. No, I think that's a fair request. Paul.
Yeah, great scenario. Really well paced, lol. And really out to everybody for, I think, that discussion we had about how to deal with bodies. That didn't descend into any argument. Everybody put forward, some good opinion there. Yeah, good bit of role playing, I think, from everybody in that. Going forwards, yeah, maybe some sort of, a scene in a sanitarium or something, or as you say, those home sort of style scenes. Maybe dealing with sort of stability recovery, that'd be good.
Okay. And finally, Alan.
Star for Paul, I think, for pulling the trigger. and it was nice to see how that went. And for all we know, this hardened cop never actually shot anyone on duty. I think I want to unpack that. Star for to Will for Gene Oliver that even this hardened agent who's been through a lot was getting a bit freaky. Open the bin or not? It's lovely. And that was lovely. The whole setup on the farm was just a joy to kind of just observe the effect it was having on the other players. Just the looks on their faces as this got a bit freakier. And Horst, I really enjoyed that slight confrontation about, are you going to cut out the cancer or are you going to let the cancer stay? And that just allowed me to put Marcus's badge front and center. And Lowell, and playing on Evans's natural naivety in these circumstances to make him now the either the only real Delta Green agent or not a real Delta Green agent, I think is masterful.
Awesome. Any wishes?
I do want to see how the scenes at home play in mechanically to stuff like stability. I know that we can burn it to get stability, but I don't know how we get stability back, if that's possible or not.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in how the kind of domestic scenes might tie into that. And no, I don't think I've got anything other than that. Yeah. Just more of the same. Thank you.
Yeah. As long as your max stability hasn't been reduced, like what happened to Susan, you can recover, but we're recovering that by like your daily lives and integrating and that kind of stuff. So we will see that. We'll play that out. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.